Racing Podcast.
My name is Jiří Košta and together with me is there a GT3 racing driver, Nikolaj Rogivue. Hi Nikolaj.
Hi, how are you doing?
Really nice, and we hope you're doing nice as well.
Yeah, I'm doing well as well.
First of all, I need to ask you for one thing, but I remember you told me that some time ago. And how many languages do you speak, and how is it with your nationality? Because already we talked together about how to pronounce your second name. Is Rogivue, or how is it?
Yeah, first of all, I'm from Switzerland, from the German part of it, and my cousins, they are from the French part, and that's why we have this French speak of our second name. Yeah, and I speak English, German, Swedish, fluent, and I understand some French and Spanish as well. Yeah.
That's really cool because I speak only Czech and English and some kind of words in German.
Yeah.
Which I can't tell to people right now.
The bad words, what do you learn first?
F words like fuel and those kind of things, you know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your racing career. That's the most important thing in there. Of course, we have to go back to the beginning it all. So when did you start the racing?
Like professionally, I started with 12, I would say. When I moved to Switzerland, I had I was driving a lot with rental cars before that, nearly every month. And with 12, I began to drive the Swiss Championship with go-karts and a small team. And that was the beginning. And with 18, I think I went into the cars, but it's pretty late. But it's kind of worked out.
After your karting journey, you raced in single-seaters and especially Formula 4. And after your Formula 4 career, you went to the ADAC GT Masters with Zach Speed. So why did you leave the single-seaters?
The single-seaters, we knew we could not reach high classes in the single-seaters because it was way too expensive. And my goal was always to live out of the racing, so there's a bigger chance to do it in the GT class, GT4, GT3, and we were looking for opportunity anyways. And when it came with Zach Speed, we were even happier because a famous team like that just came to us and made a test with us in Hockenheim, and after the test we were really happy, and we have the competitive car, not like in Formula 4 when we were one of the back markers with the team. And we took the opportunity with what we had, and it was great.
So before you moved to GT cars, was your dream Formula 1 or not?
It was a dream, but not an optimistic one. I knew I could not come there because I didn't have the sponsors, the money in the background, and we didn't know the people in the background either. So you could come up with less money, you know. So we had to I had a goal in front of me to just live out of motorsports in GT class, and I'm really close to that right now.
As you told us, you went for the Zach Speed team, where you took the 2 podiums in the first season, which was a really good one. And would you say that Hockenheim 2016, which was the very last race in that season, was your best race in ADAC GT Masters? Or it was maybe last year's Red Bull Ring race, even though you weren't on the podium spot?
Like the first year with Zach Speed was, of course, one of the best years, or the best year I had in motorsport so far in the professional league. Hockenheim and Nürburgring, they were great. We both had podiums on both races. Nürburgring was a little bit less fighting. There we were on P3 all race and finished in P3. Behind the 2 Porsches that were way too strong, and the same in Hockenheim, 2 Porsches in front of us that were way too strong. And we did a really strong race. The Hockenheim race was for sure harder, and I think the best race we really did from that side. And the last year in Red Bull Ring with the Audi, there was the only race that we had a competitive car, and I think in that race we had the fastest car as well. It felt really great. It was really optimal for the racetrack and for everything that was on that day. And then in the quali the car wasn't there yet, and that's why we started from so far behind. And in the race when it was working good, we slid to the front.
I remember once you raced with the KTM Crossbow GT4 and your car began to burn. How was your feeling during that incident? Because we need to say that KTM hasn't the doors, but the only canopy.
Yeah, like the day before we had problems with the top speed, so we had to change the engine for the quali. It was not for the quali, it was for the last training the day before the quali. And so when I jumped into the car, they told me to take it slow. Every lap we should do some more percent of throttle, so not full throttle from the beginning, because they changed the engine in a new record time. Normally they need a lot of time for the engine change with two people, but they did it in a really short time because it was between the two practices. And so the first lap I was pushing, so I think it was my fourth or fifth lap. I was pushing the first time in the straight, and some millisecond before the braking, I felt something. And in the first corner, after the first corner, then when I was on throttle, I had no power, I had nothing, and I saw smoke, a little bit of smoke, but no fire. And so I was looking for a marshal point, but the next moment I felt a really big heat in my back. So of course I stopped the car directly, and when I was outside, the fire was already around me. But yeah, nothing big happened. The fire truck was there directly, so the KTM was not burned down completely, but the carbon was damaged, and we had to take a new carbon. Like we had to change the whole carbon of the car, but we didn't have the time for it, so we took a new KTM that was back in the team. The team house, or how you call it.
Yeah, some backup we could say.
Yeah, exactly.
So as I told you, and maybe some people recognize, you didn't race only in ADAC GT Masters and some other series. We must not forget your races in VLN with the Racing One team, where you drive the Ferrari 488 GT3.
Well, this was my first year. I did the whole season there. I missed out one race though because I had an overcut together with ADAC GT Masters, and because of this I didn't get champion either in the VLN. My teammate got champion with this race that he did more than me. And so all races we that we took part in, we won. One of them we didn't win because we had a small accident and qualifying. But all races that we started, we won. And for me, the highlight was VLN, NLS this year. And and I hope I will try there this year as well.
So if we're taking that overall, you raced with Mercedes GT3, Audi GT3 and Ferrari GT3. So
yeah, exactly.
At least you're a little bit lucky boy in that way.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen a lot of great cars from inside and outside, felt them as well, and it's really a nice feeling to be in this position.
And what do you like the best, and what do you describe any of differences of those cars?
There's no car of them that I like the best. They all have good and bad things. Like the Audi is really nervous. It's like it begins to slide fast, and the Mercedes is more understeering. Of course, when you're on the limit, you will have oversteer as well, but not as with the Audi. The Audi is much more nervous in the back, at least the Audis that I drove. And the Ferrari, because I drive with gentlemen, we have to be a little bit more stable in the back, so they don't have too much to fight with. and so the Ferrari is really the most calm car I've been driving so far, and even more calm than the Mercedes that is already famous for being pretty calm, with a lot of understeer though. So these are the three differences with the cars: stable and understeer.
And what type of racing do you prefer? Do you prefer sprints or endurance? Because in ADAC GT Masters we have, of course, the sprints, and VLN is typically endurance. So
more into endurance. I didn't have so many endurance races yet, but those who I had was really a great experience. You have a lot of driving time, and at the same time I feel more comfortable in those races because you just drive lap after lap and you're in the car. You don't always have these short stints like in ADAC GT Masters. And in ADAC GT Masters you destroy a lot because of the context. It's the most aggressive series I know about. And in endurance the people are more careful what they are doing. The only thing there that you have to be really careful about is the slow traffic, the slow cars that you have to overtake, but this makes the race more exciting, you know. So yeah, you see the differences between the cars and everything.
Especially on the Nordschleife where it's raining during the races, typically.
Yeah, last year was a lot of rain, and we had a wrong tire compound, sadly, and this made a really big difference, especially to other GT3 cars. It felt like a whole other class. We managed to keep the car safe and bring it home.
But racing is not only about the sitting into the car, but you need some preparations in there. And I remember when I worked also in ADAC for one team as a PR, that we met a few times. And you usually talk to someone before the race and laugh on that. Is it the part of pre-race ritual for you?
No, not really. I'm just really like open to people that are in the team or guests or whatever. I always talk with them, being close to them, explaining things for them. And but as soon as the race getting closer, I am taking distance from it, being more calm. But I don't really have a big ritual like other drivers have. I just need to be a little bit calm before the race for myself, and yeah, that's it.
And how do you generally prepare for races? Because physical endurance is definitely important in GT3, especially when it's hot and you're racing on Nordschleife.
I prepare with sports, of course, with jogging, swimming, and yeah, now in the winter I'm doing more sport in my house with weights and with my body weight as well. Yeah, to keep myself fit and be able to drive the cars for hours.
By the way, are you using racing simulators?
Yeah, as well. Like I was used to use it, but my steering engine broke, so I can't race it the simulators at the moment. But I will open a simulator house soon, and there I will probably drive a lot as well.
Yeah, there you have a lot of simulators on one place, so
Yeah, exactly.
at least one should work.
Yeah, there are enough simulators, so if one breaks down, we have 6 others.
By the way, I saw a few weeks ago some race where you raced online.
Yeah, it was a race together with other real race drivers. It was an under even from the Swiss Championship. I didn't qualify for the Swiss Championship because I got crashed out in one quali race. I couldn't go to other quali races because I had real races at that moment. That's why I wasn't qualified for the real Swiss Championship. But next to that, there was a program for VIPs, so real life race drivers like Neil Chani, Jasmin Preisig. They came to this race as well. Alexander Fach, and and that race I won. I nearly threw it away, but yeah, I won the race.
Yeah, because Neil Janet was testing driver for Red Bull and Toro Rosso back in time in Formula 1. And he also raced in Le Mans, I think, and won Le Mans maybe. So
Yeah, he won it.
yeah, so well, he's really good driver, I must say. Then,
Yeah.
so you should be happy because you beat him.
Of course, I was happy. I mean, now he's the developed driver for Porsche and still pro driver, still racing in the highest level. And of course, I'm happy to beat someone like that. But yeah, I know that he doesn't drive simulators that much, and simulator driving is a completely different thing from the real life driving. And you have to get used to it because you don't feel anything in the seats. Like you in simulators, you feel it in the pedals and in the steering wheel, and you have nothing else that gives you the feeling, and you have to get used to this. And you can go different speeds, different braking points than in real life, and this package makes it hard to win if you didn't test a lot or train a lot in the simulator.
You just can't feel it under your butt.
Exactly.
So we talked about your karting days, about KTM X-Bow, also Formula 4, and I would say that the best of in your career awaits on you. Have you already discussed, for example, the position of factory driver? After all, you have been an Audi driver for a long time.
Yeah, of course. Like factory driver is a goal for me to get there one day. But you have to bring results to get there. And with Ferrari, it was good now. With Audi, not so good because we didn't have a competitive car the whole year. Just 2 races. And yeah, if you don't bring the results, they don't take you as a Audi, or not Audi only, other brands as well. They don't take you as a factory driver. No, even if you know, even if the factory know that your car isn't good and you're doing a good job, they can't take you as factory drivers if they, if you didn't bring results. So I have to have a competitive car and team to make results with, and then this thing can get closer.
Okay, so that was everything what I wanted to ask you for my True Racing podcast. We wish you all the best in this season, and I really hope I will see you on my own again, because I didn't see you last year, so after many years. So let's hope it will happen this year, and we thank you very much for joining us, Nikolaj.
Yeah, thank you as well.
And that was another episode of our True Racing podcast. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you there. Bye bye.